Hello children, good morning. Let us listen to one beautiful story. The name of the story is The Last Child. Before I go into that story and before I go into the knowing about the author, I just want to ask you one question. Did you ever have the experience of when you were watching in the when you went to exhibition or a pilgrim center or anywhere that you got lost, your parents were somewhere and you were all alone, and what did you do at that time? Did you recollect that instant? Yes, if you have recollected that, just make a small note of that, because I want to read that what happened to you and how you came out of that situation. Who helped you to come out of that? Okay, were you panic? Definitely you must have been panic. So this is a story about that, and this story is written by Mulk Raj Anand. Now about the author. He was Indian writer. That's the first thing, because he did not read many days over and did not read any Indian writers' stories. So he is an Indian writer born on December 12, 1905 in Peshawar, which is now in Pakistan, Peshawar, and died on September 28, 2004 in Pune. And he was a very good story writer, and he wrote many wonderful stories, and he is very well known for his realistic and sympathetic portrayal of poor people in India. So in your stories you could feel that he wrote many stories about the middle class people and the problems what they were facing and all that. Real life, very near to the, you can feel that, be one of the character in that when you are reading the stories. And so he is considered to be the founder of English language Indian novel. Okay. Now he also had many awards: International Peace Prize in the year 1953 and Padma Bhushan in 1968 and Sahitya Akademi Award in the year 1971. Okay, now these are the other stories written by him: Untouchable, and then Coolie, and Across the Black Waters, and Two Leaves and a Bud. These are the other stories written by him. Yes, now go back. Let us know what happened in the story. It was the festival of spring. From the wintry shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad humanity. Look at that first sentence, children. I just want to stop here and tell you what is in there. It was a festival of spring. That means spring season is there, and from the wintry shades, winter just over and not completely, shades are there. Winter shades of narrow lanes and alleys emerged a gaily clad of humanity. That means people came out and then started talking to one another, and because of the exhibition, there is a fair and people were going and came out of that wearing beautiful colorful dresses. Some walked, some rode on horses, others sat being carried in bamboo and bullock carts. One little boy ran between his father's legs, brimming out with life and laughter. So you can see in that picture the way the boy was going. So you also feel really very excited when you are going to the exhibition, right? So here even that boy was also very much excited to go to the exhibition. Brimming means overflowing. Then, "Come child, come," called his parents as he lagged behind, fascinated by the toys in the shops that lined in the way. So when he was going there were shops, toys shops were there behind, and he just got attracted and stood there and watching those toys. Then his parents called, "Come on child, come." So he hurried towards his parents, his feet obedient to their call. Feet obedient, walking. His eyes still lingering on the receding toys. Feet are moving forward, but his eyes and mind are there on the toys which were receding behind him. And as he came to where they had stopped to wait for him, he could not suppress the desire of his heart, even though he well knew the old, cold stare of refusal in their eyes. "I want that toy," he pleaded. So he knew very well that his parents are going to tell no, but even then he could not control himself but asking toys. "I want that happened? His father looked at him, red-eyed, angry. In his familiar tyrant's way, his mother, melted by the free spirit of the day and tender, and giving him his finger to hold, said, "Look, child, what is there? What is before you?" So when he asked, and father naturally looked at him very, very angrily, and then mother, who knew very well that the boy was feeling really very sad, told him with tenderness in her voice, "Come, look, child, what is there in front of you?" So the way she diverted the attention of the child, did not scold, did not tell about anything, she did not tell, forget about the toys, I'm not going to buy, nothing she told. Yes, she told, "Look what is there in front of you," diverting the attention of the child. It was a flowering mustard field, pale like melting gold as it swept across miles and miles of even land. Yes, you can see that miles and miles of that, you can see that pale like melting gold was there, that mustard field. So he started looking at there. So a group of dragonflies were bursting about on their gaudy purple wings. Gaudy means very bright purple wings were there for the dragonflies, intercepting the flight of a lone black bee or butterfly in search of sweetness from the flowers. So dragonflies are there, black bee is there, and butterflies are there. Honey bee is intersecting all their ways, who were coming there to suck the honey from that. The child followed them in the air with his gaze, till one of them would still its wings and rest, and he would try to catch it, but it would go fluttering, flapping up into the air. When he had almost caught it in his hands, then his mother gave a cautionary call, "Come, child, come to the footpath." So he was about to catch that, and then his mother called. Again he went. Now, he ran towards his parents gaily and walked abreast of them for a while, being, however, soon left behind, attracted by the little insects and worms along the footpath that were teeming out from their hiding places to enjoy the sunshine. So as he was going, when his mother called, he was moving. At that time, what happened? On that footpath, he found small insects which were coming out of the mud. Because of even the insects also wanted to enjoy the sunshine. Spring season, no? So the insects also came out, and his attention got diverted and started playing with looking at the insects which were coming out like that. Again mother called, "Come, child, come." His parents called from the shade of a grove where they had seated themselves on the edge of a well. He ran towards them. So they were walking and they took rest for some time under the grove, means group of trees, little bit shade is there. So there they sat where there was a near well. Then what happened? The shower of young flowers fell upon the child, and he entered the grove, and forgetting his parents, he began to gather the raining petals in his hands. But lo, he heard a cooing of birds and ran towards the dove and ran towards his parents, shouting, "The dove, the dove." The raining petals dropped from his forgotten hands. So he was collecting the petals from his hands, from the flowers which were falling from the trees. When he was collecting them, at that time he saw the dove. Then he was really excited seeing the bird, and then he started shouting, running to mother, "Dove, the dove, the dove." Then when he was running with excitement, all the flowers, whatever he collected, he just threw them and he ran. "Come, child, come," they called to the child, who had now gone running in wild capers round the banyan tree, and gathering him up, they took the narrow winding footpath which led to the fair through the mustard fields. So through that mustard fields, they went to the place where the fair was there, and the boy who was running here and there as if in a play mood, like skipping, like the way the children will move when they were running, right, with one leg, changing the leg and jumping and running in that way. That is capers. So when the child was going like that, the parent called the child and then took him through that mustard fields to the exhibition. Yes, till now is the story of what happened on the way to the fair. Now they are there in the fair. Now here I want you to take a pause and go through everything wherever, whatever had happened behind way the child got attracted towards different things on the way to the fair. Just recollect and write 1 to 5, at least 5 to 6 sentences about that as a recollection. As they neared the village, the field could see many other footpaths full of throngs converging to the rail pool of the fair, and felt at once repelled at the fascinated by the confusion of the world he was entering. So many people are there in the fair, lot of crowd and whirlpool. Many people are there. It was just like a whirlpool of the fair, and felt at once repelled and fascinated. He was really thrilled seeing so many people and the way they were moving here and there in the confusion. So that he really enjoyed there. Next, first, what is that he had seen? A sweet shop. A sweet meat seller hawked gulab jamun, rasagulla, barfi, jalebi at the corner of the entrance, and a crowd pressed around him, around his counter at the foot of an architecture of many colored sweets decorated with leaves of silver and gold. The child stared open-eyed with his mouth watered for the burfi. That was his favorite sweet. I want that burfi, he slowly murmured, but he had half knew as he bet that his plea would not be heeded because his parents would say he was greedy. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So what happened? Gulab jamun, rasagulla, burfi, jalebi. Now children, you know your mouth is also watering when you are reading that and looking at the colorful things. Yes, yes. That is the speciality of the sweets eatables. So the small child also mouth watered when he saw so beautiful, colorful sweets that were there in the shop. Then what happened? He wanted to ask his mother. And he went and asked, I want that burfi. But before asking only, he knew very well that they are not going to accept his request. And he knew even the answer. You are very greedy. So, he knew very well they are not going to buy. So, he just asked and moved forward without even waiting for the answer. Now, that was the first thing what attracted him in the fair. Next, a flower seller hawked a garland of gulmohar, a garland of gulmohar. The child seemed irresistibly drawn. He went towards the basket where the flowers lay heaped in, half murmured, I want that garland. But he well knew his parents would refuse to buy him those flowers because they would say that they were cheap. So, without waiting for an answer, he moved on. So, he wanted to buy even the flowers also. Why he wanted to buy flowers? Because they were really very colorful. So, that color attracted him and he told that I just want to buy the garland. And he knew very well what the parents will tell. So, he silently walked away. Next, a man stood holding a pole with yellow, red, green and purple balloons flying from it. A child was simply carried away by the rainbow glory of their silken colors, and he was filled with an overwhelming desire to possess them all. But he well knew his parents would never buy him the balloons because they would say he was too old to play with such toys. So he walked on further. So look at the way he was giving answer for each and everything. Okay. Sweet shop, they told you were greedy. That's the answer what they did not tell. He felt that they would be telling that. Now garland, they are very cheap. Then for balloons. You grew up, you are not that small child to play with balloons, will be the answer. So each and everything, he himself is getting the answer and moving forward. So next, a snake charmer stood playing a flute to a snake which coiled round in a basket, its head raised in a graceful bend like a neck of a swan, while the music stole into its invisible ears like a gentle rippling of an invisible waterfall. The child went towards the snake charmer, but knowing his parents had forbidden him to hear such coarse music as the snake charmer played, he proceeded further. So he even got attracted to the music, and he was attracted to the snake which stood its foot and started moving, and as if listening to the music. Invisible ears and gentle rippling of the invisible water, for he felt that is there, but he did not wait there because his parents would tell him, you are not supposed to listen to that coarse music which was very rough. So he moved on. Next, this is really very tempting, right? Roundabout. There was a roundabout in a full swing. Men and women and children carried away in a whirling motion, shrieked and cried with dizzy laughter. The child watched them intently, and then he made a bold request. I want to go on the roundabout. Please, father, mother. See, now he asked them. So there were many men, women and children were there who were shouting and enjoying going in that roundabout, merry-go-round. So he observed them very keenly and then asked, I want to go on that, father and mother. Now, what do you think will be the answer? There was no reply. He turned to look at his parents. They were not there ahead of him. He turned to look on either side. They were not there. He looked behind. There was no sign of them. So when he turned to look at the parents and asked that I wanted to go on that merry-go-round, when he looked, nobody was there. Not even mother, not even father. They moved and he was there standing looking at the people who were there on that roundabout, and he missed them. Now, he was lost in the fair now. A full deep cry rose within his dry throat, and with a sudden jerk of his body, he ran from where he stood, crying in real fear, Mother, Father. Tears rolled down from his eyes, hot and fierce. His flushed face was convulsed with fear. Panic-stricken, he ran to one side first, then to the other, hither and thither, in all directions, knowing not where to go. Mother, Father, he wailed. His yellow turban came untied and his clothes became muddy. Now that fear and crying and all that, you can imagine yourself. Look at the boy there who was lost in the fair and the way he was crying. Then what happened? Having run to and fro in the rage of running for a while, he stood defeated, his cries suppressed into sobs. At little distance on the green grass, he could see through his filmy eyes men and women talking. He tried to look intently among the patches of bright yellow clothes, but there was no sign of his father and mother among those people who seemed to laugh and talk just for the sake of laughing and talking. So what happened? He was crying, and that crying became sobs. Sobs means you won't cry, but after crying the way you feel. Sobbing was there. And then he started looking at all the people with his filmy eyes, not able to see properly because of the tears. So he started looking at them intently, very carefully, looking at all the people. Was there my father? Was there among those people my mother? He was just looking for them, but he could not find. He ran quickly again, this time to a shrine to which people seemed to be crowding. Every little inch of space here was congested with men, but he ran through people's legs, his little sob lingering. Mother, father, near the entrance of the temple, however, the crowd became very thick. Men jolted each other, heavy men with flashing murderous eyes and hefty shoulders. The poor child struggled to thrust a way between their feet, but knocked to and fro by their brutal movements, he might have been trampled underfoot had he not shrieked at the highest pitch of his voice, "Father, mother!" A man in the surging crowd heard his cry and stopping with great difficulty, lifted him up in his arms. So, as he was crying and moving and going on, then he went to a shrine, a place where there is a temple. So, in exhibition, they will keep some small temple-like things, no? So, maybe that one, he felt there. Then what happened? When he was going there was a lot of rush, and the people were moving and pushing each other, and this boy could able to make the way and move between the legs of them, and they were very slowly. He was calling mother and father, and then if he was not careful, he was about to be trampled, crushed by the feet of the people. But at that time, from those powerful crowd where there were many people, from that crowd, there came a man and he lifted the boy in his arms. "How did you get here, child? Whose baby are you?" the man asked as he stared clear of the mass. The child wept more bitterly than ever now and only cried, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man asked, but the boy told, "I want my mother and I want my father." The man tried to soothe him by taking him to the roundabout. "Will you have a ride on the horse?" he gently asked as he approached the ring. The child's throat tore into 1,000 shrill sobs, and he only shouted, "I want my mother, I want my father." So, first he took him to the roundabout and asked. He said, "No, I want my father and my mother." The man headed towards the place where the snake charmer still played on the flute to the swaying cobra. "Listen to that nice music, child," he pleaded. But the child shut his ears with his fingers and shouted his double-pitched strain, "I want my mother, I want my father." The man took him near the balloons, thinking that the bright colors of the balloons would distract the child's attention and quieten him. "Would you like a rainbow-colored balloon?" he persuasively asked. The child turned his eyes from the flying balloons and just sobbed, "I want my mother, I want my father." Next, the man, still trying to make the child happy, bore him to the gate where the flower seller sat. "Look, can you smell those nice flowers, child? Would you like a garland to put round your neck?" The child turned his nose away from the basket and reiterated his sob, "I want my mother, I want my father." Thinking to humor his disconsolate charge by a gift of sweets, the man took him to the counter of a sweet shop. "What sweets would you like, my child?" he asked. The child turned his face from the sweet shop and only sobbed, "I want my mother, I want my father." So, disconsolate means who was really very unhappy, not able to control. And this disconsolate charge means the person whoever wanted to charge means the person whoever wanted to console the boy. But he showed everything previously, whatever he wanted. But this time he did not want anything. He just wanted only his father and mother. Now, in the fair, the child got attracted to so many things there. First, sweet shop, then flowers, then balloon, then snake charmer, and then roundabout. When the man was showing, he showed the roundabout first, then snake charmer, then balloon seller, and then flower hawker, and then sweet shop. So, nothing attracted him this time because his parents were not there with him. Now, I want all of you write one line about each thing, whatever got attracted for him in the beginning. Okay, and what will be the reply given by the parents, and second time why he refused. So I want you to write just one line about each thing there, the things what attracted him. Okay, thank you children.